you don't want to end up like everyone else, you have to avoid the number one wealth killer nobody talks about. For many people, it's not taxes, not inflation, and not even the mortgage. It's your car payment and the hidden cost of owning a car. It's a decision almost every middle-income earner makes without thinking, and it quietly drains tens of thousands of dollars you could have been growing instead. I'll show you how a $27,867 Civic can actually cost nearly twice that in 5 years, and how the same money could become about $60,000 invested. So what does that real price tag look like when you add it all up? When most people think about the cost of a car, they stop at the number on the window sticker. You see $27,867 for a new Honda Civic and think, all right, that's what I'm paying. But that's just the start. Over the next 5 years, that same Civic will actually drain closer to $46,821 from your bank account. And it's not because you got ripped off. It's because the sticker price is only a fraction of the real cost of ownership. The reality is, buying a car means signing up for a long list of monthly and yearly expenses that pile on silently. Insurance renewals, fuel that disappears faster than you can fill it, regular maintenance, occasional repairs, taxes, fees, and if you didn't pay cash, interest. Plus, the worst hit of all, depreciation, which is just the business-friendly way of saying your car's value is melting away every month you own it. Let's put the numbers in clear, source-backed terms. Using industry estimates and Edmunds cost-to-own data as a baseline, here's the 5-year breakdown for that Civic. Depreciation at roughly $10,999. Insurance about $12,000 for a 40-year-old driver with a clean record. And it can be much higher for younger drivers. Fuel around $6,415, financing at $4,719, assuming a decent credit score and a modest down payment, maintenance about $3,224, taxes and fees roughly $2,800, and repairs around $1,790. Those categories together bring you to $46,821 over 5 years. Depreciation alone wipes out nearly $11,000 of value, the single biggest cost category, before you even start counting the other bills. It's like owning an asset with a leak you can't patch. Every month, value seeps out until the day you sell it for much less than you paid. When the 5 years are up and you go to resell, you might get back around $19,800, but that still means taking about a $27,000 loss in net worth. That's not just the price of enjoying a newer car. That's money that left your pocket in slow motion, hidden inside payments, premiums, and the sheer loss of value. Most people don't notice the full picture because the costs are spread out. One tank of fuel at a time, one insurance renewal, one brake job. But put them on a single page, and it's hard to ignore that the real price tag of a $27,867 car can be almost $20,000 higher. And that's where the bigger question comes in. If all of that spending is flowing out, what could it have done for you if it had been working somewhere else? This is the $40,700 wealth gap. The difference between what you end up with after owning the car and what you could have had if that same money had been building wealth instead. It's a gap that opens up quietly with every car payment you make, and it's bigger than most buyers ever imagine. Here's how it plays out. The payment on that Civic example works out to about $780 a month over 5 years. That's $9,360 a year, and by the end of the term, you've put in roughly $46,800 in total. Now, instead of sending that $780 to a lender, imagine directing it into an S&P 500 index fund. Historically, the S&P 500 has returned about 10% a year over the long term. But keep in mind, past performance doesn't guarantee future results. In that historical scenario, those regular contributions could have grown to around $60,000 in 5 years. You put in 46.8, and compounding did the rest. Side by side, the contrast is hard to ignore. On one track, you finish with a 5-year-old car worth far less than you paid, and a list of expenses that aren't coming back. On the other, you have an asset worth about $60,000 that's still working for you. Just in that one comparison, the gap between the two paths is about $40,700, and that's over a single 5-year stretch. And that's just the conservative example. If you'd place the same $46,800 into a stock that performed like Microsoft did over the past 5 years, returning roughly 224%, you'd be looking at well over $150,000 instead of $60,000. That's the extreme end, and far riskier than an index fund, but it shows how big the opportunity cost can be when money is tied up in something that loses value. Bump the numbers up. Maybe you're paying $850 a month for a higher trim, or a different model like a Jetta, or over $1,000 for a $55,000 BMW, and the wealth gap scales right along with it. Keep that up over decades, and the swing in your net worth could be measured in hundreds of thousands, even millions, all from how you decide to allocate those payments. That $40,700 difference in the Civic example could be the seed of your early retirement. It could be a down payment on a home in a better area, or the capital to start a side hustle or business. When the money's locked into a depreciating asset, those options disappear before you've even thought of them. So the math is clear, and the stakes are real. which raises the obvious question. If the numbers point in one direction, why do so many of us keep choosing the other?
Over the last 20 years, total auto debt has more than doubled, topping roughly $1.6 trillion. That's not just a number, it's a sign that we're locking up more of our future income in something that loses value the second we drive it off the lot. The reason isn't a lack of basic math skills, it's that car buying is rarely just a financial decision. Automakers understand this better than anyone, pouring billions into marketing that bypasses spreadsheets and goes straight for your emotions. They're not selling transportation, they're selling identity, status, and belonging. And social media makes the message even louder. A Cybertruck ad promises you're part of a bold future. An influencer's dream car post wraps a loan in the language of achievement. The story you're being sold is about who you are, not what the car costs. That's why logic gets sidelined. Your brain reacts to the image of cruising down an empty coastal highway or pulling up to a dinner with friends faster than it processes the reality of a $780 monthly payment plus insurance. Emotional imagery feels good right now. The numbers feel distant. And by the time the bill arrives, you've already committed. The social layer works the same way. You see a neighbor's new SUV or a friend's post about finally upgrading, and the quiet pressure to keep up builds. The reality you can't see is that nearly 1 in 4 car buyers were upside down on their loan in Q4 2023, meaning they owed more than the car was worth. That's a financially dangerous place to be, but it's hidden behind polished photos and congratulatory comments. Even people who understand the depreciation math still talk themselves into overspending. They frame it as needing reliability, when a 3-year-old certified used car would be fine, or rewarding themselves after a promotion, turning a liability into a personal milestone. Those justifications make the payment feel earned, even though they quietly block wealth building over the years. If you could map out the gap between what advertisers, influencers, and social norms convince you you're buying versus the actual 5-year cost you saw earlier, it's stark. On one side of the whiteboard, words like freedom, confidence, success. On the other, tens of thousands in depreciation, insurance, maintenance, and interest. That disconnect isn't accidental, it's engineered. Breaking free means seeing the trap for what it is and having a plan before the sales pitch or the social pressure kicks in. The good news is, you don't need complex strategies or financial degrees to avoid it. There are 3 practical moves backed by clear numbers that can keep your transportation costs in check while protecting your ability to invest and grow your net worth. And you can start using them right now. Cars should serve your life, not quietly shrink your wealth. If you want to flip the equation, here are 3 moves that work. First, buy in the sweet spot. Shop for 3 to 4-year-old models with around 30 to 40K miles to skip the steepest depreciation. Second, follow the 15% rule. Keep all transport costs under 15% of your gross monthly income. Third, keep your cars 10 plus years and redirect the would-be payment into investments once it's paid off. Your turn. Calculate your current transport percentage or 5-year ownership cost and drop your make, model, and number in the comments. I'll pick a few to run the math on. Every car you buy is either a step toward freedom or a step away from it. Subscribe if you want more math-driven, practical wealth tips.